Continuing on in our discussion of video container formats, we now want to move into the actual codecs. And as a refresher, the container format is the wrapper in which the audio, video, or graphic bit streams are contained and are able to move from one computer or from one user to another as a single file, whereas the codecs are the actual algorithms used by the software program to encode the zeros and ones. So I'm going to jump over to MPEG stream clip, and I have the playhead parked on this particular frame. And so one of the things that I can do is I can export a single frame of video. So one of the common file formats that we use all the time in photography is JPEG. Another graphic file format is TIFF, and we also have PNG. So one of the options that I have in a compression utility like this is I can choose File, and I can come down and choose this option, Export Frame. And if I choose this, I get a property window that wants me to enter in some basic data. In this particular case, I'm going to keep the frame size set to 16:9. We'll keep it in its native unscaled format. And we'll go down here and de-interlace the video. And I have a choice here of file formats. I can choose JPEG, TIFF, or PNG. For right now, I'm just going to leave this set to JPEG. And I have a JPEG quality slider below this that I'm going to set all the way up to the full level. And that will ensure that this will make the best possible JPEG image that it can. Now keep in mind, it's making the image, rendering it from video. So it's not going to look like an image that was taken with a still video camera. That would probably have a much higher perceived resolution than what I'm going to get here by exporting frames from an actual video project. But we're going to give this a shot. If I want to preview this, I can click on the preview button, get an idea of what this is going to look like. And when I'm ready, I'll choose Save. And we'll put it in this folder with the other ones. I'm just going to put this in as exported frame, and we'll choose Save. And if I open up my Finder, I'll navigate to that folder on the desktop to the exported video, and there's my JPEG frame, and hit the space bar and open that up, and there I've got it. And if I wanted to do something with this frame to actually create maybe a title screen or something, I could then open it in Photoshop, and here it is. It actually looks pretty good because this was acquired using a high definition video camera. So even though this is a still image acquired from a video, the quality is not bad. I don't know that I'd want to go out and make a print from it, but it's certainly good enough quality for me to do something else with it, so that should I so choose to do so within Photoshop. So that's just one example too, again, of how you can take something that is encoded in a time-based format, an actual motion picture video, and create a still graphic from it. And most editing programs will allow you to do that as well. I can also choose to export the video as only an audio file. So I can choose audio, in which case the program will ignore the video portion of the program and simply encode a standalone audio container file format for me. And these options should look pretty familiar to you at this point. I'm going to leave this set to AIFF. I'm going to leave it set to stereo. I'm going to leave the sample rate set to 44.1, since that's the industry standard for professional audio. And if I wanted to, I could choose the bit rate. For some reason, it's not letting me have access to that adjustment. And when I'm ready, I can choose OK. And I'll just call this exported audio. And we'll choose Save. And it didn't take very long because it only exported this this brief portion of the 60-minute program that I have set with an in and out point. So if I go over to my Finder window, there's my AIFF file, and I can play that.
And provide this environment where they can be themselves and they'll be embraced for who they are.
And you can see it. There was no video accompanying that. It was just an AIFF audio file, but it was uncompressed. And again, I used this compression utility to identify the portion of the program that I wanted to export for some other intended purpose, for some other use. All right, the last thing I'll do in this portion of the tutorial is I'm going to set an endpoint here and just an out point shortly thereafter, because I want to export just a small portion of video two different ways, but I don't want it to take too terribly long to accomplish. I'm going to go back up to File. I'm going to choose QuickTime. And in the QuickTime Properties window, I'm going to choose H264. And I'm going to leave the frame size set to 1920 by 1080. This was the native size of the original HD video. And we'll leave the video interlaced, which again too was the native property associated with this particular project. And we'll do 100% quality in terms of the encoding. And I'll choose Make Movie. I'm going to call this 1920 HD. And we'll encode this. And hopefully it won't take too long. Okay, we're done with the first level of encoding. I'm going to go back up and choose Export to QuickTime one more time. And this time I'm going to choose the 720p option. We're going to downsize the frame size to make a smaller version of this, both in terms of the size of the window, frame itself, the frame of the video, as well as the file size. And we'll choose Make Movie. And this one I'll call 720p HD. It's still HD, it's just a smaller resolution version of the same thing, and we'll choose Save. And what I'm doing is creating two different versions for purposes of comparison. Very often when I'm encoding a video for distribution, I like to do test encodes. It saves me time to encode just a small portion of the video and to try different settings than it would for me to do the entire 16 minutes of the video every time I wanted just to get a test of my settings. And so this is something that I often do. Usually I would do an even smaller section of the video so that it would take even less time. But we're almost up to 79%, so this is nearly finished. Movie completed, and I'll jump back over to the Finder window. And we can take a look. I'll go into my list view here. You can see the file size difference between the two files as I zoom into them. My full resolution version, the 1920 by 1080, has a file size of 136.8 megabytes. The one that was scaled down to a frame size of 720p is 69.5 megabytes. So again, just keep in mind that there's a direct correlation between the frame size and the quality settings within your export properties window and the file size of the video that you're going to end up with on the back end. And this is going to come more into play in the next tutorial when we look at how to prepare a video project for distribution to a video hosting service such as YouTube or Vimeo.